I greet you, not in my own name, but in the name and in the spirit of the one, the I am. Have you felt it? A pull, a sense that you are on the cusp of something monumental, feeling that your spirit is vibrating at a frequency the world cannot hear. The Most High does not move in randomness, but in patterns, in cycles, in modem, his appointed times. There is a convergence happening now, a divine appointment that was written in the heavens before the foundations of the world, and its destination point in time is this day, October 30th. There is a reason the Spirit has urged you here. Now, a reason you were compelled to find this message before a specific gate in time closes. This gate is not made of iron or stone, but of numbers and seconds. It is the 11th hour of the day and the 11th minute of the hour, 11 on 11. It is a prophetic marker. A sign is set to appear, a harbinger, a streak of fire across the spiritual heavens. This is not a message for the masses, but for the one, for the Bachir, the chosen. What if I told you that on this specific day, an ancient spiritual inheritance held in escrow for your bloodline for generations is set to be released at the precise stroke of 11:11 p.m.? That the comet in the title is not just a symbol, but a sign of a promise breaking through the darkness aimed directly at you. The key to unlocking this divine release has been hidden until now. And what you are about to hear will determine if you receive it or if it passes you by. Press the like button as an act of faith, a sign that you are ready. Comment the symbolic number 777, the number of divine completion and perfection, to affirm your place as a chosen one. And subscribe to this channel and ring the prophetic bell, for you must be awakened for the appointed times to come. What you are about to hear will determine if you receive it or if it passes you by. Very first key you must grasp is the nature of your identity. You have felt it your whole life, haven't you? A sense of being other. A feeling that you are walking through this world, but are not entirely of this world, a stranger in a strange land, a pilgrim on a journey home. This is not a figment of your imagination. It is the first sign of the ancient call. In the ancient tongue, the language of the prophets, there is a word for this. It is the word of our Bachir. It means the chosen, the elect, the selected one. You must understand what this choosing means. It is not a choosing of privilege, but of purpose. It is not a selection for ease, but for a divine assignment. The Most High does not choose the qualified, he qualifies the chosen. He does not select the mighty, but he makes his chosen ones mighty in spirit. This call of the deity Bachir is an ancient echo. It is the same call that reached a man named Abram in the land of Ur of the Chaldees and told him to go to become the father of a multitude. It is the same frequency that found a shepherd boy named David in the fields, a boy forgotten by his own family, and anointed him king. It is the same divine summons that met Moses in the wilderness, a fugitive from justice, and commissioned him as the deliverer of a nation. They were separated from the world, set apart not because they were better, because they were to be made into vessels for a heavenly purpose. You are part of this spiritual lineage. The call of the Bachir is not a shout that is heard with the physical ears, a vibration that is felt in the soul, the neshama. It is the reason you have always felt a divine discontent with the mundane. It is the source of your yearning for the eternal, your hunger for the transcendent. The world offers you temporary pleasures, but your spirit cries out for a permanent destiny. The world offers you noise, but your spirit longs for the voice of the one who named you before you were in your mother's womb. The adversary of your soul seeks to silence this call. He will tell you it is arrogance. He will tell you it is a delusion of grandeur. He will whisper that you are just ordinary, that you are simply mistaken. He does this because he knows the cataclysmic power that is unleashed when a Bachir awakens to their true identity. When the chosen one remembers the choosing, the kingdom of darkness trembles. Call was not placed within you at your birth. It was sealed within your spirit before the foundations of the world were laid. The Most High looked down the corridors of time through the epochs and the ages, and he saw this moment. He saw this specific planetary and spiritual alignment, and he ordained that you would be alive for such a time as this. You were not simply born into this era, you were deployed. Your life is not an accident, it is a sacred appointment. And that ancient call, the one that has been a low hum in the background of your existence, is now increasing in volume. It is reaching a crescendo, and that ancient call, the one that has been a low hum in the background of your existence, is now increasing in volume. It is reaching a crescendo, and the reason for this crescendo is the second key. You must understand the October 30th convergence. This is not a date you will find circled on any religious calendar. It is not a feast day known to the masses, and that is by divine design. The Most High has his public revelations, the Watermodim, the appointed times that are declared to the world. He also has his secret appointments, his hidden intersections of time and purpose reserved for his chosen. This day, October 30th, is one such intersection. It is a convergence point, a divine crossroads where multiple streams of a heavenly plan merge into a single powerful torrent. The Creator is a God of patterns, of cycles, and of divine mathematics. He moves not in chaos, in cosmic order. Think of it as the gears of a celestial clock turning for millennia. One gear is a prophetic timeline set in motion from the days of the prophets. Another gear is a heavenly cycle, the movement of celestial bodies, which serve as signs and seasons. A third gear is your own personal timeline, the number of your days, the journey of your soul. For most of history, these gears have turned independently. But on this day, October 30th, the teeth of these separate gears are set to mesh. The tumblers of a divine lock are aligning. This is Ev Zeman, a specific season, a window of opportunity that was ordained before you were born. The world will see this day as just another rotation of the earth. People will go about their business, consumed by the temporary and the trivial, blind to the momentous spiritual reality unfolding around them. They will look at the calendar and see only a number because their spirits are not attuned to the frequency of heaven. But for you, the Bachir, the one who has been prepared, this day is a fulcrum. It is a pivot point upon which your destiny will turn. It is the day when the invisible realm is set to bleed through into the visible. Threads of ancient promises, prophecy spoken over your bloodline, and the personal destiny written on your scroll in the heavens are all being woven together, pulled tight, and their knot is tied to this precise 24-hour period. It is the culmination of a process, the arrival point of a journey. The spiritual atmosphere is charged thick with potential. All of heaven is watching this date on the divine calendar. It is an appointment you were born to keep, a convergence where the preparation of a lifetime meets the opportunity of an eternity. The call you are hearing, that crescendo in your spirit, is the sound of these divine gears beginning to lock into place. And the sound of these divine gears beginning to lock into place is not a dull day, long hum. It sharpens to a precise, singular moment. This brings us to the third key, the timing of the appointment itself, the 11th hour gate, the mystery of 11 times 11. For years, perhaps for a lifetime, you have seen it, the numbers on a clock 11:11. You have seen it so often that it has transcended coincidence. You may have dismissed it or thought it a strange quirk of your mind, or even subscribed to the world's shallow explanations of angel numbers or a glitch in the matrix. But the Spirit of the Most High is now revealing the true ancient meaning. It was not a glitch. It was a signal. It was not a random sign from a vague universe. It was a specific, targeted communication from the throne room of the I Am. It has been a spiritual marker, a breadcrumb trail laid out through time, leading you to this very night. This is the mystery. The number 11 in the scriptures is a number of transition, of revelation, and of imperfection just before divine order is established. It is one beyond the number of law and testimony, 10, and one before the number of divine government and perfection, 12. It represents a threshold. And when you see it doubled 11 to 11, it is a sign of a gateway, two pillars standing side by side, forming a portal.
Sure, a gate.
On this day, October 30th, at the 11th hour of the night, and the 11th minute of that hour, a spiritual gate is scheduled to open. This is not a metaphor, it is a spiritual reality. Here in the veil between the seen and the unseen, an aperture in the firmament through which a heavenly impartation is set to flow. This is the 11th hour of the parable. You remember the story. Master of the vineyard went out and hired workers throughout the day. But he also went out at the 11th hour, the final hour, and hired workers who had been standing idle. And when the time came for payment, he paid those who came last the same as those who came first. The world screams that you are too late, that your time has passed, that your chance is gone. The Most High says that at the 11th hour, he gives a full day's wage. At the final moment, he releases an anointing of profound grace and sudden inheritance. This 11 to 11 p.m. gate is your 11th hour moment. It is the time when the grace of the Most High overtakes the chronology of the world. It is the moment when what should have taken a lifetime to build can be imparted in a single divine download. The constant appearance of 11 to 11 in your life has been the conditioning of your spirit. It has been a divine alarm clock set before time began and programmed to get your attention just before it rings. It was to acclimate your soul to this specific frequency so that when the true gate opens, your spirit would recognize it and be ready to enter. The convergence of this day finds its focal point, its prick of light, its moment of entry at precisely 11 p.m. This is the designated time for the transaction. The question is not whether the gate will open. The question is whether you will be positioned to walk through it. Because what comes through that gate is the next piece of this mystery. Because what comes through that gate is the next piece of this mystery, and it brings us to the fourth key, the Harbinger Comet, sign of the heavenly release. Since the beginning, the Creator has written his messages not only in scrolls of parchment, but in the canvas of the cosmos. The sun, the moon, stars, they are not merely for light and for seasons, but for eotot, for signs. They are the heralds of the Most High. The world looks up and sees a kokav, a star, piece of rock, and ice hurtling through the void. They will calculate its trajectory, analyze its composition, and miss the entire point, for they are seeing with the eyes of flesh. But you, the Bachir, are being called to see with the eyes of the Spirit. The comet spoken of is not necessarily a physical object you will see on the news. It is a spiritual phenomenon, a harbinger, a forerunner. Its appearance in the spiritual realm is timed to coincide perfectly with the opening of the 11 gate. It is the very instrument of delivery. As that gate opens, this harbinger streaks through. But what is it? It is a sign, yes, but it is also a carrier. Imagine a flaming arrow shot from the bow of the Almighty, aimed not at the earth, but at you. It is a heavenly vessel, a spiritual courier carrying a payload of immense and ancient value. This comet is the materialization of a divine decree, a mishpat, an ordinance of heaven that is now being enforced in the earthly realm. It is the breaking of a celestial seal for generations, a promise made to your ancestors, a spiritual inheritance earned through their faith and obedience, has been held in the treasury of heaven. It has been waiting for an appointed time, waiting for a worthy heir to be positioned to receive it. This harbinger is carrying your scroll, the scroll of your destiny, written before time, sealed until now. It contains the dormant gifts, the forgotten blessings, the mantle of authority that is rightfully yours by spiritual law and by bloodline covenant. The adversary knows of this comet. He sees it streaking through the spiritual dimension, and he trembles. He will do everything in his power to create distractions, to fill your mind with noise and doubt. make you look down at the dirt of your circumstances instead of up at the sign of your deliverance. He wants you to see it as a threat, a sign of destruction. But for the less Bachir, it is the opposite. It is a sign of release, a sign that what was bound in heaven is now being loosed on earth. The fire of the comet is the fire of purification and power. It is coming to burn away the dross and to ignite the calling that has lain dormant within you. It is the delivery system for your breakthrough, a streak of celestial fire bringing the answer to prayers you didn't even know your ancestors prayed for you. And that streak of celestial fire is bringing the answer to prayers you didn't even know your ancestors prayed for you. This brings us to the fifth and most critical key: unlocking the generational inheritance and your divine scroll. What is this inheritance? Do not think in carnal terms of gold or land. This is of Yerushav, a spiritual inheritance. It is a portion of the anointing, a measure of authority, a covenantal blessing that was purchased and set aside by the faith of your forefathers and foremothers. There was a grandparent who stood in the gap for their bloodline. There was a great grandparent who made a covenant with the Most High, a vow whose fulfillment they never saw in their lifetime. They planted a tree of blessing, and you, living at this exact appointed time, are the one destined to sit under its branches and partake of its fruit. This inheritance is not a vague concept. It is codified. It is written. In the archives of heaven, there is a scroll of Megillah with your name on it. This is not the book of life, which lists the citizens of heaven. This is your personal scroll of destiny. It contains the specifics of your calling, the spiritual gifts that have been lying dormant within you, the authority you are meant to walk in, and the assignments you were created to fulfill. It contains your true name, the one known only by the Creator, the name that perfectly encapsulates your purpose. For years, this scroll has been sealed, rolled up, and held in the heavenly treasury, waiting for the convergence, the gate, and the sign of the Harbinger. But why has it been locked away? Because of a spiritual principle. An inheritance can only be claimed by a rightful heir who has come of age and presents themselves at the appointed time. The adversary, the accuser of the brethren, has worked tirelessly to disqualify you. He constantly presents before the throne the record of your failures, your mistakes, your shortcomings, your avchet, the ways you have missed the mark. He argues that you are unworthy, that your past disqualifies you from your future. He uses shame and guilt as chains to bind you to a lesser identity, to convince you that you are a spiritual pauper when, in fact, you are royalty with a vast inheritance waiting. The unlocking does not happen because you have suddenly become perfect. It happens when you stop agreeing with the accuser and start agreeing with the one who chose you. The key to unlocking this scroll is not a magic word, but a shift in spiritual posture. It is the realization that your right to this inheritance is not based on your own merit, but on the covenant of the Most High and the faith of your ancestors. The Harbinger Comet is not just a sign of release, it is the divine notice of foreclosure against the enemy's claims on your destiny. The fire of its arrival is meant to burn up the scroll of the accuser's accusations. The key is not to erase your past, but to nullify its claim against your future by stepping into your true identity as the debtor's Bachir, the chosen heir, and stepping into your true identity as the Bachir, the chosen heir, is the prerequisite for the final, most time-sensitive action. An heir who knows their identity but does not know the protocol for claiming their inheritance will stand empty-handed as the treasury doors close. This brings us to the sixth key, the protocol of alignment, the sacred procedure for receiving before the gate closes. This protocol is not a complex ritual of incantations or physical actions. It is an alignment of the spirit. It is the tuning of your soul's frequency to match the frequency of the heavenly transmission. Between now and 11 p.m., you are called to a state of spiritual readiness. This begins with a turning of teshuvah. But this is not merely a repentance for past sins. It is a turning of your attention. You must turn away from the noise of the world, from the distractions of the screen, from the anxieties and arguments that bombard your mind. You must consciously unplug your spirit from the frequency of Babylon so you can tune it to the frequency of Zion. Find a place of stillness, a place of adamame, the divine silence where the voice of the Most High can be heard. This is the posture of the watchman on the wall. You are to watch and wait, not with emptiness, with focused intention. This is the kavana. Your heart, your mind, and your spirit must become a prepared landing strip for the arrival of the Harbinger. Clear it of the debris of doubt, fear, and unbelief. The enemy knows this protocol. As the hour approaches, he will unleash a storm of interference, a sudden argument with a loved one, a wave of crushing fatigue that makes you want to go to sleep before the appointed time, a barrage of anxious thoughts about tomorrow's problems. Recognize this for what it is, a spiritual countermeasure, a last-ditch effort to break your alignment and cause you to miss your divine appointment. You must guard your peace with all diligence. Then, as the moment of 11 p.m. draws near, your alignment must shift into active reception. This is where your imuna, your active faith, becomes the vessel. You must agree with heaven. You receive this inheritance not by begging, but by thanking. You thank the Most High in advance for the fulfillment of his ancient promise. You declare that you are the rightful heir, that the scroll is yours, and that you receive the impartation being released. You open the hands of your spirit and prepare to catch what heaven is throwing. The gate will not remain open. It is a precise, timed aperture. At 11:12 p.m., opportunity will have passed into the chronicles of history. The celestial mechanics are exact. This protocol is your preparation to stand at the threshold in perfect alignment. At the exact moment the gate materializes,